Hi, this is David Tighe, Managing Director of Bauer Media here in Northern Ireland with another edition of Bauer Business Bites. And this week, I'm really delighted to welcome our guest, Chris Ross, who's the Managing Partner of McKees. It's great to see you too. So tell us a little bit about your firm, what it does, and how you are operating currently.
Yeah, okay. McKees is a commercial law firm based in Belfast. We're an independent firm and we specialise in a number of areas, including financial services, real estate, dispute resolution, and corporate services. So we have a multi-jurisdictional team as well, so we can operate in England, in the south of Ireland, and in Northern Ireland. We have been established for about 130 years now, so we've been around a while. I wasn't there at the outset, although you may not know that. So it's been an interesting time, and it's been a challenging number of months. At the outset, our biggest focus was how do we keep our staff in work? How do we ensure that there's food on the table for their families? How do we try to provide some certainty in such an uncertain time? One of the areas that we looked at back in March and mid-March was what can we do to help clients? How can we help local business? And one area we came up with, or one idea we came up with, was the SME Support Forum, which was an idea around how can we bring a number of business leaders into a forum and offer clear, practical guidance and support in a free environment where people would feel safe, they could ask questions, and we could provide them with the sort of guidance that they needed during the times of uncertainty and when there was a lot of fear in the market. So we joined together with financial services firm Kerr Henderson, accountancy practice Harmons Mulholland, and along with ourselves, McKees, we established the forum, and we wanted to be a signal above the noise. There was so much information out there, a lot of government schemes. There was a lot of advice being given, a lot of information that was hard to disseminate. And what we wanted to do was to provide people with an interpretation, to signpost people, to provide help to really any business that was looking for it, and so how-to guides and that kind of thing, where it was sound bites that we were offering as opposed to lengthy regurgitations of existing schemes that were being offered by the government. So that's how the forum was born, and it's been
It's a really positive. That's a really positive story and a great contribution to make. So you're dealing with lots of SMEs, and they're coming to you and your partners for advice. So if you could summarize, what are the top frequently asked questions that are on SMEs' minds, perhaps looking into the next stage of running into, I suppose, the back of quarter three into quarter four of the calendar year?
Yeah, well, the biggest concerns, I think, for employers revolve around their people, around their staff. So in the initial stages, there was the furlough scheme, there was various schemes available, there was CBIL loans, there was various deferrals of VAT payments, of income tax, which were all there and available to businesses. But now that the questions that we're starting to see are around how do we bring our staff back to work? How do we involve them in the business? How do we pay for them when they come back? And as I guess one of the key areas that we're being asked about is redundancy. How can we avoid redundancy? So rather than simply jumping to the redundancy stage, are there other initiatives that businesses can adopt, such as shift working, such as reduced working weeks? Are there other ways that businesses can come at it rather than having to employ a redundancy consultation process? At the end of the day, firms have built their business around their people, around their staff, and they don't want to readily let go of those key performers in their business. So we've been working hard to ensure that businesses do find alternative ways to keep people in work and to keep their businesses alive. And one of the, I guess, the biggest concerns now will be the end of the furlough scheme, which will be coming at the end of October. So what does the landscape look like in the business community in the run-in then to Christmas? There's going to be a few months of a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear. And what we're trying to do is to provide that practical guidance, support, and help to businesses where resilience is going to be key. Businesses are having to look at new ways of working, try to reimagine and re-engineer their business. What works well, what doesn't work well, what have they learned during lockdown, and try to develop those themes as far as possible.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk, especially coming from the UK government, about getting people back in offices. Is there any talk on where people are sitting with that? Because there seems to be, a bit of a dichotomy there between the government urging everyone to get back into an office and perhaps some employers not necessarily being that keen.
Yes, it's a major issue. We're hearing conflicting views. A lot of people are concerned about their own safety. There's childcare issues now that the schools are back. A lot of parents are struggling to simply get back into work. Some people want to return to work, others simply don't want to return to work. So that provides employers with a problem as well. And how do employers deal with that? So what we've tried to look at from our own perspective is looking at individuals in the business and trying to meet their needs as far as possible by putting in place flexible working arrangements, some days at home, some days in the office. It seems to work well. We try to work around our staff childcare needs and requirements. And I think that there is still that fear. Is it safe to go back into the office or into a work environment? How do I travel into work? Am I going to get public transport? Is that safe? A lot of people have been isolating at home for a lot of months now, and there's that genuine fear. And one of the areas we've seen a lot of activity and a lot of traction on social media has been in the area of health and well-being of our staff and of the staff generally in SMEs. But there's a lot of fear still out there. And how do you get people back to work? Will businesses ever see 100% of staff capacity in their office? I think it's extremely unlikely. It's more likely going to be 25 to maybe 40% at best.
Yeah, and then again, I suppose following on from that, you could be looking at companies who rent office space. I'm sure they must be experiencing some challenges, or may experience some challenges down the line as well. So it just seems to, I suppose, one thing very much affects the other. And I wonder if the law, considering how long it actually takes to make laws, I wonder if the laws actually caught up with the current situation, and whether there are laws to deal with stuff that has never been considered before, perhaps.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. We are seeing new challenges out there. There will be new laws will have to be developed, particularly around remote working, around employee welfare, essentially. How do we deal with these issues going forward, and where is business going to come from? We've already seen a massive impact on the hospitality industry, and that's still a major challenge, and almost that there seems to be the likelihood of regression, and that there will be a move back into a different form of lockdown, perhaps for various businesses, and that's just going to be a major headache for people going forward. But I do try to remain positive, and Northern Ireland people are hugely resilient. They stand up and they meet challenges head on, and I have every confidence that the businesses here will continue to flourish and will continue to prosper.
Well, Chris, with your interventions, with you and your partners, you're providing a valuable service, and perhaps people who might be watching this should get in touch with you. Your email is going to come up at the end if they want to know more. But it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you today, and thank you very much for your insight.
Yes. Okay, thank you, David. Thank you for having me.